If more of you supported the show, I'd be less sick of podcasts.
The blah-blah-blah.
Sending out good vibes.
Blah-blah-blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
Blah-blah-blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
108 breaths of deep gratitude and prayers for guidance and protection. And put on a didgeridoo and shamanic drumming track. Shivers or vibrations and stuff like that.
Part of it is you don't put too much emphasis on how long you're able to visualize on something. 1 millisecond of a good thought is better than an hour of negative thinking.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Grimerica Show. We are going to be chatting with John Neira a little bit later. He is over in China. He is quarantined, so he figured he'd come on the show. I mean, when you're quarantined, what else you got to do? Come on the Grimerica Show. I was trying to figure a way we could get the Grimerica Show into these people's lives. These poor people are stuck in their buildings. They could be listening to the show, laughing it up, having a time. Graham is here, fellow podcaster. Graham, coronavirus-free Dunlop. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad. How you doing?
Staying healthy?
I can't hear myself. I don't know if I'm on or...
You sound fine.
Really, eh?
Maybe you should just get better headphones again.
No, it's not the headphones, dude.
It's your voice.
No. Anyways, just rebooting the computer, kind of scrambling around here, but that's okay.
What else is new? You're always scrambling around.
Yeah,
Scrambling Graham.
Scrambling. Oh, that's a good one. I got rambling, scrambling Graham.
I think I've called you Scrambling Graham like a dozen times over the course of the years, and you always like it. You're consistent. I like that.
Yeah, I am.
I like that about you. So how you been, buddy? It's only been a couple of days since we were in studio. Of course, I was a little late for this interview because I was rushing out of the bush from my hunting trip. And it was a fun one, though.
It's going to be a tough edit. Like, we're going to have to ask people for their patience on this one for sure. It's a tough edit.
The Chinese internet was not cooperating.
No.
It cut out several times.
I mean, he tried to answer the same question like 10 times, so hopefully... And it was on visual. If you're not good at visualization and quantum meditation, like what do you do? So,
you know what's funny is it seems like every time we brought up coronavirus, connection goes down. To the point I told Graham to quit bringing it up. They don't want the Chinese guy. He's not Chinese actually, but he's in China. He actually said a couple of times, "I got to watch what I say because I'm in China." We asked him to comment on the Hong Kong riots, and he was like, I don't know about that.
And yet freedom is, you've got more freedom in some ways and less freedom in others. You can go down to the store, grab a beer and drink it on the, sidewalk on your way home. That's fine.
I seen a video of a dude getting drug out of his car and beat the other day because he didn't want to get his temperature taken or some shit. It did not look fun.
You want me to read an email you got
from... that's more freedom in any way. But I mean,
some ways, and in some ways there's way less.
But my argument was, though, is that if it gets that bad here, I mean, these people are going to panic like a motherfucker.
They know what to do. They all play ball when it comes to...
We'll be no better than that when the panic breaks out. They'll be dragging people out of cars and kicking the shit out of them. I guarantee it.
So I'll read. Oh, we got to introduce Michael.
Some people got ran the fuck over the last time people were disagreeing in the streets.
No, sometimes I just like listening to you guys.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always like to have you here.
You're looking trim, bud.
No, I'm not.
I think you are. You're looking better. You're tightening up. Your face is tightened up.
No.
You look younger. I would say if I was just a dude on the street, I'd say, is Graham getting younger?
Come on.
He does look boyish today.
Yeah.
It's because I'm podcasting.
Is that it?
I shaved today. I shave on podcast day. That's why.
You shaved this morning?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you're like a shave twice a day, dude.
Okay, so I'm going to read this before I forget. I got an email from John afterwards. So
I shaved a week and a half ago.
No, you didn't, did you?
At least a week.
So when you end up getting that scruffy beard...
It's like a month.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You look good shaved, though. You should keep it shaved.
I like to mix it up.
Yeah. So anyways, I got an email from John afterwards. He's like,
John
thanks
who?
again. John.
John.
Yeah, this is just to answer the question that. So he said it was a little bit challenging getting into the metaphysical mind flow with all the Skype dropouts, but it is what it is. I think the video speaks for itself. And I really appreciate you guys helping to get it out there for people to access. I'm not sure if my full answer to you and Darren's visualization hack question got recorded, and I don't think it did. So if not, here it is. So in your practice, you really only need one micro moment of pure, in the perfect present thought to be effective at visualization. And that really clicks for me now. That's what he was trying to get at. Like, it doesn't have to be a long one, right? It just has to be that perfect moment, that just split second even of perfect visualization.
Totally. I agree with
make
them.
that difference.
That house thing for me is exactly that.
Right? I've never thought about it like that.
I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, that house I'm moving into looks almost identical layout to the one I moved out of. And I was thinking, man, I want to live in a house like this.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I think it's that state of relief. I think that's what the key was, is like, I just got into a new place after having no place for a while, and you just can finally take a giant breath, and for a couple days you're present.
Yeah, you like live in a knot and you find the thing that'll undo it. All you need is like the perfect balance point, and then the energy can flow again. So it seems to work out, right?
Yeah.
You just have to find that spot of balance.
So he continues on here. These perfectly achieved moments plant themselves as seeds into the super consciousness. Here they grow and manifest. Even if all you want to manifest is the ability to hold the consciousness for longer and longer periods at one point of attention, visualize yourself accomplishing this, plant the seed. Thanks again. Keep up the awesome work. Peace, love, joy, and bliss. John. And I think he's going to send us a pogo mop too.
Oh, was it pogo mop? Can you send me the link for that? Because I kept trying to find it when he was talking about it, and it didn't seem to be all the places I found didn't seem to be what he was talking about.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Excellent. So I'll have a little mop to clean the studio with.
But you probably won't. So just keep your eye open for an email from me and open it.
Can't you put "Hey Darren" in the title or something? I mean, that's working well.
What's my percentage of opening at now? Like down, I think it dropped from 92 to 76 or something like that.
You're down to 76. I don't think it just gives me that. That's like, wouldn't that have been something if it would have just came in at that moment? When was it? I think it is. I can't remember. I think it's a monthly thing. So I'll get it here in a couple days. It'll tell me what my gram percentage is. I mean, the sad thing is everyone else is at 100%. And Graham was at 92 and he was upset.
Well, that's
and
the
then
thing.
last
It
month
seemed
he
good,
fell to
but
76. But you know what it is I noticed that all of your invites are going to my junk folder for some reason, which is super fucked up because we're making the goddamn appointments through Outlook in the Outlook calendar. We're both looking Outlook, and my Outlook program is putting your invites into my junk folder.
my Outlook.
So I went in there the other day and there was like 12 unread invites.
Oh, that's
from
why.
you. So that's a few of them. So that gets me a little bit of
That's
leeway.
a bit crazy. Why would they put invites?
That's what I was
in
just
there?
saying, and it's all Outlook involved. I could see if it was like from.
Speaking of, I'm trying to open mine. Sorry, I'm having a hard time paying attention because it's.
It was
Sorry,
a piece of junk.
Have you just told your email that everything that comes from Graham is junk? Like flagged Graham as junk?
I might accidentally put one in the junk folder or something. Maybe that's it. Especially those invites. Maybe I did put one of them in the junk folder. But I swear I get a copy of it to RSVP to. And then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You have to apologize to someone, I guess.
Anyway. I don't want to apologize to anyone. Do I have to apologize?
I don't know.
I got someone you can apologize to.
For the email.
I got some sort of some
hate
nasty mail. Yeah.
Ooh,
do you want to do it?
We don't have a jingle for that. Here we go. I got one.
And I need a clip cord too. You got a clip cord?
There are internet trolls everywhere I scroll.
No, that's not fair.
There are trolls.
That's not fair. It's a subscriber.
Oh, why do you need the
clip cord? Because I gotta respond. In my response is a YouTube video that I wasn't.
You can't play
articulating.
YouTube videos in the show
Why not?
because then YouTube's gonna pick it up. It'll get auto published in the YouTube. How much? How long?
A couple minutes.
A couple minutes. You're gonna play
I
a
don't think-
measurable
I always
percentage
used to
of
play. I always used to. Why is this all of a sudden a problem now? I used to always.
Well, I've
play
never let your
YouTube
clip.
videos.
That's the problem. Is your clips are always like 3-minute monologues or other shows. We're just playing other shows in the show. Okay, I'll give you the chord.
Okay.
But Just remember, this court has a little bit of responsibility with it.
What does that mean?
Not getting us kicked off YouTube for copyright infringement.
Well, I mean, this is the type of video that could do it too. So.
Oh boy. This isn't that.
Okay, hi,
this
Graham
isn't
and Darren.
that Indian
It shouldn't
shit
be.
again, is it?
No, of course not.
You should see the videos this guy's getting me to watch offline. Hey, what do you think about this? I could tell I was in for a treat when the way he comes shuffling into my office all shady like. He's like, I just sent you a video. I want to know your thoughts. You got to watch it though. And you got to just let me know.
I have to, if I send him something that I really need him to watch, I have to like specifically say, please watch this. Like I almost have to sit him down and say, watch it now while I'm here.
But you understand he's afraid to watch it at this point, right?
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it later today.
Okay, I'm really curious on your take on it. I really want to know. I mean, I'm not just doing it for the,
For the
fear
last.
mongering or anything like that. So, hi, Darren and Graham. I've stopped sending you my small monthly support amount because I can't stand hearing you promote ideas that seem to me to be out of touch with reality and which promote doubt on the topic of climate.
Oh boy.
I know your podcast is a place to discuss interesting and way out ideas, usually on topics that have some evidence, but usually can't be examined with the benefit of real information and hard data. On the topic of the current climate disruption, you both seem to be focusing on wacky ideas and ignoring what is happening in the real world. The final straw was your talk with Jindo and his comment that carbon is good and actually lowers temperature because plants absorb it. You didn't challenge him, but went on to discuss someone that claims the Great Barrier Reef is doing fine.
But he won on
Nothing
the
to worry
lawsuits.
about. Exactly. But I didn't, obviously I didn't articulate that very well. And I mean, I probably shouldn't have said that the reef is fine. I don't know that. But my point was that the lawsuits were all won against James Cook University or whatever it is. And they were about the barrier reef. So living in Australia, seeing and breathing the smoke from bushfires in the capital city and seeing on the nightly news images from the recent bushfires, such as people stranded on beaches. Well, that actually, the nightly news could be the problem too, but
I can't believe we have a bunch of listeners still watching the news.
such as people stranded on beaches with smoke-filled skies behind them gives me a different perspective. Well, it's probably not as bad as the American news where they actually fake the storm and have people like walking by in the back in shorts and stuff like that. I mean, the American newscasters have been busted many times of faking storms, so I'm sure it's not the same in Australia. So gives me a different perspective, he says. Huge amounts of forest has burnt, some of it rainforest that has dried out due to successive years of low rainfall. Areas that have never been burnt before. I'm not sure how you can ignore all this and rather believe that scientists around the world are in a global conspiracy. If you want real information on climate or the Great Barrier Reef, how about you interview someone like Professor Terry Hughes, rather than someone that tells you back in the 70s an ice age was predicted and therefore global warming is a hoax. Regards, Damo.
Damo?
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Damo.
anyways, yeah, thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it.
You think he's still listening?
I don't think so. Maybe. That's okay.
Man overboard.
I mean, hey, that's a touchy subject. I mean, people want to say, oh, all of a sudden we're ignoring other things and climate because we think that there's a global conspiracy. Well, there's been a lot of fraud.
Do we have a lot of shows on
I don't want to
climate?
get, well, we've had some scientists on and they provide a different perspective.
But not like a lot.
No, we've had a few scientists on. We've talked to scientists ourselves about it, I don't think we should be polluting, though. I mean, I don't think we should be. That doesn't mean that we're ignoring, everything and that we should be polluting and that we don't have an impact. Of course, we have an impact, but I don't like the fear mongering of blaming the citizens on that we're causing all the climate change. And there was, I replied to him nicely, of course.
Of course you did.
There was fear mongering in the 70s about melting the poles to stop the big freeze. I mean, this was a Time magazine article.
I don't know what Poland got to do with it.
Right? The poles. So anyways, I got a clip. This is the clip that I wanted to play. So
anyway, my point is I don't even think we spend that much time talking about climate change. To cut your support and quit listening to the show. What is it, like one every 20 episodes?
Yeah, but it's something that we talk about it quite often, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I was doing a whole segment on it with geoengineering
right.
and all that.
That's right. Yeah.
But I pointed him to Jim Lee. Check out Jim Lee's video.
But then, I mean,
check out Tony Heller. Those are different perspectives. There's other stuff going on.
He should have dropped out like years ago, though. I mean, we quit doing that segment years ago.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Opinion who put the great into barrier
This is from The
reef
Outsiders.
studies in academia. He's the Marines geophysicist and former professor.
When
at
is this
James
from?
Cook, sorry, I did it again.
February
James
1st.
Cook University. Typo, obviously.
This year?
Peter Ridd was the head of the physics department from 2009 to 2016 and head of the Marine Geophysical Laboratory at that institution for 15 years. But as we all know, he got punted. And then took them to court and won, and they're now appealing. Peter Ridd, welcome back to Outsiders. Great to see you, mate.
That's it.
Well, I thought maybe I'd just split it up a little bit so you don't get all like, so maybe in smaller chunks it might be okay.
Oh, no, I just think, let's just play why don't we just play the whole Outsider show and we could just get out of here super early.
Now, Peter, just tell us, before we get into the coral reef and all that's happening up there, the rest of the world needs to be told what is actually going on up there.
Why don't we just have this guy on the show?
Where you're up to on your appeals and your
Sure.
so-and-so with the legal case
track him
against
down.
James Cook.
Well, the appeal
What's his
will be
name?
held, we think,
Peter
sometime
Ridd.
in May. We're
Peter
waiting
what?
for reputedly one of the Australia's most well-paid barristers to put together the JCU's case, and we will know what that will be sometime in February.
Excellent. Well, we wish you all the best of luck, and certainly most Australians, certainly all outsiders are wishing you good luck in that. Now, there was a big story over the Christmas break, which was ignored by pretty much everybody, where a study came out and concluded, and you can give us the correct story, but basically that they looked at a study by James Cook University and found that they couldn't replicate it, a failure to replicate of 100%. Sounds pretty damning. Talk us through it, Peter Ridd.
Well, it was actually 8 even more studies from James Cook Universities which were looking at the effect of climate change on coral reef fishes. Some of these fish were supposedly doing really strange things in high carbon dioxide atmospheres. Instead of swimming away from predators, they'd swim towards predators, they'd lose their eyesight and do other strange things. Anyway, a group of scientists, international scientists, who I call the Magnificent Seven, tested these 8 studies and found them to be 100% wrong.
That's pretty damning. 100% wrong, 8 studies, and this is James Cook University, and yet they punted you for, in my opinion, telling the truth.
Anyways, I don't think Darren's going to want to listen to that whole thing. It's only like 9 minutes long, but I'll put it in the show notes, and they get into how institutions, it's not science that's the problem, it's the institutions.
I think I found his Facebook
and the fraud
page.
and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe we'll have Peter Ridd on. Maybe we'll have the real scientist on from that he suggested as well, who's still working for James Cook.
Well, maybe we should have them
Changed
both on
his
at the
job.
same
Maybe we'll have a
time.
little debate.
Ooh, another debate show. That could be the climate debate. I know Peter will be in. Well, I don't know that. I don't even know Peter. I just actually learned about him like 20 minutes ago. But
Anyways, I should have spoke a little bit more accurately on this YouTube video that I was talking about. So
we forgive you. Actually, well, he don't.
But it's a really good
That
video because it also talks about the big picture problem with science and institutions right now.
cost us $2 a month.
Yeah.
Unless you're crazy.
But we appreciate the feedback.
We do appreciate
Because what
it.
happens is PayPal drops people and we just never know whether they left it themselves or PayPal says, oh, that we took you off the subscriber thing and we didn't. So it's nice if you're going to leave the show, just let us know why. Then we know that it's PayPal fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me know you just hate us.
Yeah.
And we'll read your exit speech on the air.
Wait till
Totally,
wait till you hear the vaccine and wait till you hear the
write it
vaccine
well.
debate. We'll probably lose a bunch more people when I get the next vaccine person on, anti-vaxxer. That'll be interesting.
Why are you lining something up?
Oh yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Were you going to tell me? Is it going to be a surprise?
I'm going to create a whole new segment. It's 1,200 studies against the efficacy of vaccines.
Ooh, we need a jingle
It's a
for
big
that.
book. It's a big book.
You found it? You bought it?
Yeah. Look, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I got it in PDF, but it's huge. It's like massive. I think in my voice stream, it's like 25 hours long or something like that. So
Well, send me the name.
I'd
and
like
I'll
a hard
order you
copy in
book.
the studio, and then we can maybe read some of the studies.
Send me the name and I'll order you the
So,
book.
yeah. We'll lose another couple people from that, I'm
But
sure.
we'll gain even more because we got you lovely bastards going out there and ladies going out there and spreading the word. letting people know about the Grimerica show, because YouTube doesn't tell people about us, and none of the corporations are sharing the show in their algos. So we need you guys to share the show in your algos by tweeting it, Facebooking it, emailing it, telling your friends. I mean, maybe some of you want to stick some stickers on some shit. We got a whole room in the chats where people post pictures of tagging Grimerica. Bill, I was trying to convince him to put one in the White House, but he said that's a bit much. So I think he put one in the restaurant across the street.
Yeah.
Bill
St.
Anderson?
Regis.
The St. Regis.
Bill Anderson?
The Grimerica sticker.
What about at the farm? I mean, could he...
I don't
CIA
know.
training place?
Bill is dropping Grimerica stickers all over the place. It's fantastic, and he posts
CIA
pictures whenever he
now.
does. Oh, probably. I'm pretty sure Bill is CIA. And then
It's funny how we originally nicknamed him that
Bill
right at the
show.
beginning. We must have known. Yeah.
And then we got Laser likes to write the Grimerica show on porta potties and stuff. But hey, I mean, no such thing as bad publicity, right?
Sure.
That's probably our audience, construction workers, listening to the show at work. Speaking of which, let us know where you listen to the show, how you found the show. Spam Gram with your feedback, your experiences. Do you have any spam for us? Or should I go into the begging for money part of the show?
Yeah, you can do that while I look up something quickly, and maybe Michael can read the quote of the octopus of global control this week, which is the highlighted one up there.
Well, please.
I'm going to find something appropriate for this episode.
Please head over to Grimerica.ca/support today. You're our only stream of support. And like we say, we had a bit of a rough winter on the support wing. I don't know if the value of the show is going down. Maybe the value of the show is just going down, and you people aren't getting as much value from it. If that's the case, let us know, like this fella did, and we'll figure it out. But if not, if you are still finding some value from the show, from the 400 shows in the back catalog, all for free, head over to Grimerica.ca/support today. Sign up for monthly on Stripe, PayPal, or Patreon, all of which are lovely. Help us pay the rent. Help us pay the hosting fees, help us pay all those little things, and help us grow the show. And do our little events like we do at Contact at the Cabin and those sorts of things. Stay tuned for a list of Grimerica audiobooks and things like that. That'll be available for purchase soon. That'll be another way to support the show. But for now, just a little value for value is fantastic. Grimerica.ca/support. And there's a bunch of other ways in the show notes you can support the show. You can review this show in iTunes, wherever else. The only place I really know is iTunes. I'm sure there's a bunch of other places. But head over there. Grimerica.ca/iTunes will get you there. If you're on an iPhone or an Apple device, that'll pop you right into the iTunes store. Bang, 5 stars. Leave a little review. There you go. That helps us in some algos somewhere, I'm sure. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. And spam Gram.
Oh,
you got my fucking clipcord.
See, it comes with responsibility. I should have given it back.
All right, here, I'll read the quote.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Wait, you can't read the quote. You don't just read the quote. We need the jingle. There's a jingle for that. Sorry, it's not ready, but it's not ready because Graham stole the clipcord. That's UFO quote. I can never find. Oh, here it is.
It's the profound quote of the week.
Oh, geez,
I still haven't
speaking
fixed
of
that.
responsibility.
It's been like 3 months.
Wait, let's try this one.
It's the profound quote of the week.
God damn it, it said it was 34 seconds.
It's okay. It's okay. We got it.
It's
we got
not
the point.
okay.
We got the point.
All right.
Conspiracy theorists of the world, believers in the hidden hands of the
I didn't mean to do
Rothschilds
that.
and the Masons and the Illuminati, we, the skeptics, owe you an apology. You were right. The players may be a little different, but your basic premise is correct. The world is a rigged game.
Yeah, love it.
Matt Taibbi,
Matt Taibbi.
Rolling Stone.
Right
Awesome.
on. That was Michael Hastings that got drove into a tree for his little escapades against generals.
Yeah.
Free press, baby. What else you got?
I got a project operation. For
No.
you. Yeah, dude. What do you mean?
All right.
It's got to happen.
Really? I had a jingle for that. No, I don't feel like pulling it out right now. I don't have it in
What?
the iPad.
You don't?
All right,
Oh
all
my
right,
God.
all right, fine.
We finally got a you know.
No, it's in the email. It's okay. I can get to it quickly. Da, 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 da.
You want me to read another quote?
What? No, I'm ready.
Don't steal.
Oh.
The government hates competition.
Who's that from?
That's a sign sitting on Ron Paul's desk.
Ron Paul? He's part of the problem.
Thanks, buddy. So I'm going to just read one here that's from Wikipedia, but I was thinking of reading some weather modification ones just for that climate change little discussion we had earlier. I mean, there's a ton of these project operations, and
there's more project operations in our operation projects.
Project LAC, large area coverage. I know that off the top of my head. Project Popeye.
What's Popeye?
There's a whole bunch of that. Popeye was the one where they flooded the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Vietnam with all the clouds and the rain, and it was discovered only because of a actual reporter that's actually doing his job. So
10-minute warning.
But what I'm going to read is
live with an interview in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got it, buddy.
Okay.
Project Storm Fury.
Ooh,
Storm Fury.
Great name.
So Project Storm Fury was an attempt to weaken tropical cyclones by flying aircraft into them and seeding with silver iodide. This is from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's lots of
maybe this should just be the Wikipedia segment.
Oh, come on. The project was run by the United States government from 62 to 83. The hypothesis was that silver iodide would cause supercooled water in the storm to freeze, disrupting the inner structure of the hurricane, and this led to seeding several Atlantic hurricanes. However, it was later shown that this hypothesis was incorrect, apparently. It was determined that most hurricanes do not contain enough supercooled water for cloud seeding to be effective. Additionally, that's why I say take it with a grain of salt. Additionally, researchers found that unseeded hurricanes often undergo the same structural changes that were expected from seeded hurricanes. This finding called Storm Fury's success is into question, as the changes reported now had a natural explanation. The last experimental flight was flown in 1971. So just, a little bit of context. Back in the 60s, actually goes back to the 40s, they're cloud seeding, trying to fuck with the weather way back then. And they do it over millions of fucking hectares in Russia and China and all over the place. And is that taken into account?
I think small scale is okay, like at a ski resort and
they're doing it all over the
certain
place.
places if you had a small plane, but there should be a limit.
That affects the weather, though.
But it's the military, and
it affects the weather.
They can do whatever they want.
Well, the last experimental flight was flown in 1971 due to the lack of candidate storms and a changeover in NOAA's fleet. Project Storm Fury was officially canceled after the last modification experiment. So the hypothesis cloud seeding was first attempted by Vincent Schaefer and Irvin Langmuir. This is what Jim Lee talks a lot about. After witnessing the artificial creation of ice crystals, Langmuir became an enthusiastic proponent of weather modification. Schaefer found that when he dumped crushed dry ice into a cloud, precipitation in the form of snow resulted. With regard to hurricanes, it was hypothesized that by seeding the area around the eye wall with silver iodide, latent heat would be released. This would promote the formation of a new eye wall. As this new eye wall was larger than the old, the winds of the tropical cyclone would be weaker due to reduced pressure. So even a small reduction in the speed of hurricanes' winds would be beneficial, since the damage potential of a hurricane increased as the square of wind speed. A slight lowering of the wind speed would have a large reduction in destructiveness. So anyways, due to his efforts and the research of Schaefer at GE, the concept of using cloud seeded to weaken hurricanes gathered momentum. And this is back in 1946 by seeding a cloud, and it caused a major snowstorm and December 20th, 1946 by seeding a cloud. This caused GE to drop out for legal reasons. So in 46, they thought it worked. And then Project Cirrus, that was the first attempt to modify a hurricane. It was a collaboration by GE, of course, and the U.S. Army Signal Corps and the Office of Naval Research and the U.S. Air Force, all participating in Project Cirrus. After several preparations and initial skepticism by government scientists, the first attempt to modify a hurricane began October 13th, 1947, on a hurricane that was heading west to east out to sea. So they had these two aircraft go out there, and they dropped nearly 180 pounds of dry ice into the clouds. The crew reported pronounced modification of the cloud deck seeded. Next, the hurricane changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the seeding, and Langmuir claimed that the reversal had been caused by human intervention. And Cirrus was canceled, and lawsuits were threatened. That's interesting, eh?
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, that's... So anyways, I would suggest going to Jim Lee's... he's got 3 massive websites that catalog all this kind of stuff. So the United States Weather Bureau's National Hurricane Research Project, which was founded in 1955, this was between Cirrus and Storm Fury, had one of its objectives to investigate the scientific validity of hurricane modification methods. Interesting. Anyways, I'll stop there. I'll put a link in the show notes.
Right on, buddy.
Project Storm Fury and Project Cirrus, a couple of my favorites.
Those are your favorite? You have favorite project operations?
Of course, dude.
Right on.
All the weather modification ones are right up there.
I'd love to see like the top 10 one day. We should do like the Graham's top 10 projects, secret black budget projects.
Dude, I've been accumulating a long list, dude. It's just never ending.
Okay, we got to get out of here. We got an interview in 4 minutes. Speaking of interviews, you're going to enjoy this interview with John. Fantastic chat. Like I say, give us a little bit of leeway on the audio. Had some connection problems with China, but I fixed it up as best I can, maybe. I think I did anyway, unless I forgot, but I probably did. So, enjoy the chat with John. What's his last name?
Neira.
John Neira. You know what's funny? I have a John Neira in my phone, I think. Now I got to check. I wonder if it's the same John. I'm not going to check. I don't have time. But I met him in Mexico. I had dinner beside him in Mexico. And we hit it off, and then I got his name.
He's your handler. He's been following you ever since.
You think?
Yeah.
Anyway, enjoy the chat.
All right, tonight we've got a special episode from China. We're with John Neira. He's a friend with Carl DeMarco, and he said we'd come on the show and we'll talk about some quantum meditation and what's happening in China with the virus, especially because you're in lockdown right now, right, John?
We still are, yeah.
Oh, boy.
For another week or so here, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Welcome to Grimerica.
Thank you for having me. So, do you want a little... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go.
I was going to say, do you want a little update on the coronavirus?
No, let's save that for a bit. because Darren's Darren's late.
You want to say that? Okay. Got it.
So we're gonna do this. We're gonna hit all the spiritual stuff first, and then we'll get then Darren doesn't miss the update, because I'm sure Darren will have some questions about the coronavirus, as do I.
Okay.
But yeah, I was doing your quantum meditation last night and this morning, and it was pretty interesting. So I thought we could start there, and maybe we were talking about some Baptiste Yoga as well. That was interesting, because it was one of my favorite types of yoga that I would try and take in Calgary. And you're connected with the people that are training with that, which is very interesting.
Okay.
So is there a connection there for you, the yoga and the meditation?
Yeah, well, they're absolutely integrated, because that's actually where I learned it from the Baptiste Yoga method. And I was telling you before, there's at least a couple of different factions right now. There's Baptiste Power of Yoga, and then there's Baptiste Yoga, and one of those is Baron Baptiste, and the other is Sherry Baptiste. And there's also Debbie Baptiste, another daughter of Waltz. And so the children kind of are carrying on the legacy. But I studied under the master Walt Baptiste in San Francisco. He purchased a Masonic temple, piece of property that was a Masonic temple on the corner of Clement and Arguello.
Wow!
And he converted the downstairs into a health food restaurant. Yeah, Jay Leno used to come in there when I worked there. So the Holy City Zoo Comedy Club was down there, and he used to do stand up there. And so there was a health food restaurant, also a health food store, and then upstairs, very tall ceilings is where they had their church, right? There's the big main room that Walt turned into the ashram, where he would teach the classes, yoga classes, and his wife, Magana, used to teach the belly dance classes there too, as well as her yoga classes. And there was a little workout studio there too. Walt Baptiste was also a pioneer in bodybuilding, and he was actually a Mr. America in the 1950s, and was at one time voted the most proportioned man in the world.
I mean,
and if you check him out, if you check out on Google, you'll see some pictures of him, like ripped, ready for building competition, and yet like in a full lotus or something, So he was combining the two, way ahead of his time.
Strength and flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, he was a real pioneer. He was born in 1918, and by the time he was 17 years old, he was introduced to yoga through his uncle, who was a student devotee of Paramahansa Yogananda. And a couple of years later after that, he was already teaching in his own studio. Just think about when that was. It was so before anyone even knew what the words meant.
Yeah, it's before all the trends, and crazy. That was back in what, like the 30s, the 20s and 30s? No, not the 30s. It must have been the 40s or 50s, I guess.
The 40s, yeah. Yeah, my math is not.
Yeah, because so when you trained under him, he must have been pretty old then.
He was. This was in the early 1980s. I had just moved to San Francisco from Texas.
Wow.
And I was like 18 or 19, and I moved out there to study the arts. And I studied everything from acting to film, improv. Tried a little stand up. I was trying to be well rounded, so that's why I met some of those guys. And I had a day job. I was working at this office, loan processing or whatever, and I was like a clerk, and maybe worked my way up to a junior, loan officer or something. And I met a musician friend, and he was working at that health center, the Baptiste Yoga and health center, and he offered to try to get me a job there working in the restaurant. And I said, yeah, sure. And then so I did it, and I liked it and continued there, and then you could be part of the yoga system there, and it wasn't like a cult, but it was like you could be a devotee if you wanted to. You could follow the master's teachings, and it'd be more like going to like a martial arts studio and knowing that it's the master and say, okay, man, here I am, break me,
Yeah, like a sensei.
Yeah. And so a lot of, some people got, into what he was offering there. And later on, I mean, when I look back, I mean, it's just so amazingly valuable. But it was the real deal, man. This was not a trendy form of yoga. This is, of course, before there were yoga mats on aisle 5 at, Target and Walmart, and I even remembered, like, I went on a couple of dates with the girls, when I was at the yoga studio, and I would mention it, and they didn't think it was cool. They thought it was weird.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that would have been very almost esoteric for back then. So but speaking of the trendy part of it, I mean, my vision or my remembrance of Baptiste Yoga here in Calgary is it's like it's kind of more of like a fitness yoga. Like, it's tough, power, flow. Like, the goal of us was, like, the teacher would say, your goal is to, like, stay in the room. Like, it was hot yoga too at the time, super hot studio, super sweaty, like. And but my vision or my perception of that type of yoga seems to be very contemporary. So was his original yoga different than the two lineages that came from it now?
Yeah, we never did the hot yoga. I don't know if that's something that came afterwards, started trending later or not. But the Walt Baptiste method definitely had a different way of pushing us to the limits.
Okay.
Walt sort of, as the guru dev would have different challenges and tests he would give to different students, or the whole group, depending. And like, for example, I remember there was a technique he would teach us. I learned it when I went to the yoga retreat that he had in El Salvador, and there was a swimming pool there, and he would do this posture, like, put yourself in a full lotus, and you would breathe all your oxygen out. And you're in the shallow end of the pool, but you would sink to the bottom of the pool and sit there in the lotus, and you remove all the energy from your diaphragm, your lungs. It's all gone, and you're just bringing up the energy from the base of your spine, the Kundalini energy. And every time you have that urge to
take a breath,
want to breathe and come up, you're using your mantra, peace, harmony, well-being, joy, love, bliss, and even the end of it, when you are going to come out of it, you want to do it completely peacefully and without panic,
right?
Always calm down the mind, but it's just another way of pushing you to the limit that way, and he had various ways of doing that with us,
So what's the difference between the two lineages now? Like, they split off. Like, there's the Baptiste Power of Yoga, and what was the other one?
See, Sherry Baptiste is Baptiste Power of Yoga, and then Baron, I believe, is Baptiste Power of Yoga. So, like, the of is not there.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's just a different business model. I think Baron is branching out a lot more into the certifications, worldwide. And
right,
all that.
Right.
I know he's teaching, like, in Massachusetts, Cambridge, and also in Salt Lake City. He just kind of goes back and forth, for the personal classes he's teaching.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Those two.
So it's a similar style still.
I mean, it trickled down from, their dad, they just sort of carry it on, but they've got their own style too.
Yeah.
So I think one of the real inherent, common threads was that it's Raja Yoga that I was learning, and Raja Yoga is the royal path of yoga.
Oh, we're losing you a little bit. We're losing you here.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a connection or if
yeah.
Yeah, you're back. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So losing my train of thought here, but
no, you're talking about the original Raja power, or the type of yoga it was.
Yeah, and it really all revolved around human transformation. The unfoldment of the spirit, the mind, the body, and the spirit all together. So potential for, the human body, for the human mind, it all integrated. And I'm assuming that that's what you got out of it when you were doing your classes.
Yeah, I mean, it was the ultimate experience in trying to stay present, present with the teacher, like listening to the teacher, listening to your body, focusing on your breathing, focusing on your body. Like, it was just full immersion of the moment, like there's no time for worrying about anything else about, you're in the class and you're basically, especially with that one, because it was so intense, you're basically just struggling through the whole thing in a positive way. Like I had a real positive experience out of it, but it's just such a mindful, present, practice of staying present,
Yeah. And, also the overcoming the ego aspect of it too. Well, it used to, not trying to be a goody, not sitting there with, in your meditation, with the smirk on your face, that you're better, than other people because you're doing this. If you have a smile on your face, it should be because you're laughing at yourself, confronting, your ego. Like, look, Mom, I'm doing yoga and I'm overcoming my ego.
Yeah.
So yeah. Taking it to those levels, I think, is really what it's all about. Not just about flexibility and not just about simple mindfulness, but pushing yourself to the next level.
Yeah. And it really showed me the power of the breath as well. Like, focusing on your breath, breathing more throughout the day, deep breathing, and just the types of how your breath can help you through a lot of those things. Like when you're at that point where you're going to lose your posture, or you're going to pass out almost. It's just that breath will keep you there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's kind of where the quantum aspect of meditation comes in. It's not just necessarily for meditation. You can use it in your yoga practice as well. It's more conceptualization. But do you want to get into that a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I do, because I got some questions for you on that. But I'd like to hear the genesis of that.
Well, the word quantum gets tossed around, a lot these days, and actually the name of the series that I actually did is called the Centered Meditation Series. And so I kind of added the quantum when I was naming it for the titles for YouTube and now on the Facebook page I have, but it was more just like a hashtag kind of thing to get people interested. And it does have to do, with the quantum level, but it's more using it so that people can get a reference of where they're going and where they need to take their consciousness to refine it, to bring it down to something that's on that level. And when we think of quantum, we think of, atomic or subatomic, increments, discrete increments that are smaller and smaller, energy and matter. And this is what this is dealing with. It's bringing your mind to those places and in between, and then even deeper, Walt used to give us this example in meditation class, and he would always give us this example of the box inside of the box, taking your consciousness to that you're in a small box, and then you go into a smaller box and smaller box and smaller box. And same thing that you can do with a sphere, and putting the attention, the breath at that point, and then moving it more and more inside. And the deeper you can go inward, the further you can go outward too. The further you can go in both directions. So, I just wanted to be clear on how I'm using the word quantum. So, and we all know this concept of having a chair that you put against the wall, close to the wall, and you can keep moving it closer and closer without ever touching it if you keep subdividing the distance, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so there was a technique that always stuck with me that Walt taught us, and it really was taught to him, through the chain of these gurus in India, and it's a practice where you're sitting on the floor in a, it could be a lotus or just cross-legged, or you could actually be on a chair if you want to. But let's just say, for example, that you're sitting on the floor cross-legged, and you visualize a four-sided box drawn around your body. One side on each side of you, and one in the front, one in the back, and then you visualize those four corners drawing sort of these laser beam lines to one single point at your forehead center, the third eye. And you visualize that point, with the breath, and you hold it there with the breath, and you visualize that as a very razor sharp, super fine, infinitely sharp point. And then you visualize an identical mirroring pyramid that you are going to put on top of that, like an hourglass. So the two pyramids are mirroring each other. Just kind of, take a moment to visualize that. And then you're going to take those 2 points and you're going to bring them together where the third eye is, but you're not going to let them touch. You're just going to get them very, very close. And then so let's say that you did let them touch. Well, then you would separate them just ever so slightly. So, the distance of an atom, or hundredths of an atom, and then you're going to keep breathing to that point and drawing yourself to a finer and finer, smaller increment of space in between those 2 points. And then so you could now bring them together slowly, those two fine, razor sharp points, and you're never going to let them touch because you're always going to move your mind into a smaller point that's in between those two. And so what you're doing is you're tricking your mind into going to that point. Now, anybody that's listening right now probably has their attention at their forehead center, at least, right? So you're using it as a tool to just keep refining a deeper and deeper point of attention, at your consciousness.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I only had a chance to try it once, so I didn't really get the full effect of how that could help bring you deeper inside yourself or into focus. Because it's but I do appreciate that part of, like we always talk about the table just being molecules and spinning and vibration, and you really there shouldn't be something solid there, but there is. So just having that constant smaller and smaller and smaller scale to focus on. But for me, I'm not very good at visualizing, so it helped with the pyramids on top, on top of each other. And then when you expanded it to the cube, like 4 more pyramids, so you're making this big cube outside you. But do you have any advice to people that? I got a couple questions. Advice for people that that have a hard time visualizing, and then the other one is how does that get you into that state of deeper consciousness? Like you say in your meditation, like be ready for lapse in consciousness. So is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first question about getting better at visualizing, part of it is practice, but I mean, a lot of it is practice, because as you get better, maybe, you don't have to practice as much. But I think part of it is trying to hold whatever the...
Oh, hang on a second. We lost you here. We lost you. Can you, I don't know if Darren's in studio now. He's just showed up and he's playing around with something and he messed up the audio.
I don't know. Darren?
I heard that.
Are you there, John? That's weird. He came in. I just heard your name. What did he do?
I didn't do anything.
We've lost John.
Maybe I did do something.
Did you click that button or no? Didn't turn his volume down or? No, he popped in and said Darren, so that's weird. So anyways, Darren, we're just getting into the quantum meditation part of it. We went through some yoga stuff, saving the China virus and the
coronavirus
for you.
till I got here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And now we got to
did he
get John
get the
back.
coronavirus?
So. No, he's in quarantine still.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, what happened just now? They came and got him?
Yeah, they shut it down. They're only allowed to talk.
Are we on Skype with them right now, or what are we?
Skype, yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh, here's the mouse. Here's the other mouse.
So many mice. It says he's still there, though.
Yeah.
Check one.
Oh,
two.
there you
Hey,
go.
hello.
Hey, you're back.
Okay.
Ah,
good.
then I can't blame it on Darren now.
I don't know. Didn't do anything here.
So Darren's here. I was just giving him an update on where
Hey,
we're
Darren.
at with the quantum meditation.
Hello.
on it.
Sorry I'm late.
There's no such thing as late.
Oh,
Okay.
don't say that.
As long as you,
Does seem like we're battling some audio issues. Is that new since
Yeah,
I got here?
Yeah, since you got here.
yeah. Am I still okay?
Oh, you're back now.
Sound good now, yeah.
You just faded away for a sec.
Okay. I hear you guys great.
Okay, good. So I think we were at you were explaining how to improve your visualization.
I think the biggest key at first is practice. But I guess if you could give yourself shorter goals, I think it's better. And anything you want to get better at is give yourself if you want to visualize something, don't make it so that you have to visualize it for a minute straight or whatever. You can visualize things for shorter periods of time, but you are really there in them. It means more anyway. And you're hitting on something. Actually, I was just talking with a friend of mine who was a consultant on this DVD. My friend Dr. Ron Jessam. She's a therapist.
We might have to try and reconnect. We're losing you again, so you're kind of in and out.
Okay. Yeah.
I wonder if should we try reconnecting? Do you think? Or
I don't know. Let's just try and roll with it.
Okay, let's try and roll with it then.
Okay. Is it still moving? Okay.
Yeah, you're there. Okay now.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all right. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to stay right on my mic here.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about I want to get better at
Definitely not that thing. I tried turning the gate right off even.
It seemed like as soon as you touched it.
Is that better?
I don't know. You left again, so it's hard to say. It was like right after critiquing or crit.
Yeah. Creative.
Let me try something. You blaming China?
Check one. Check two. Check.
Yeah, he thinks it's China. Yeah.
Check one.
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going there pretty good for quite a while until Darren got here.
Did I go?
Yeah.
No, you should stay. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay, let's try again. You're back now anyways.
Yeah. You know what it could be too is sometimes if there's ambient noise off the mic, it's creating a ground loop. It's sending off like a little signal echo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that could have been what happened when Darren came in.
Okay.
But can you hear me now? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, just we were talking about the ability to visualize and all that, and I think you also have to.
I'm just trying to get a little more volume out of it.
Mm.
You think it's kicking out when I do that?
It seems like when you reach over there, something happens.
I'm turning.
I didn't touch anything that time.
Okay. Yeah, he's turning something off there.
We could try
What's the
a
time? What's the time?
reconnect.
What's the time?
26 minutes. You shouldn't have said anything about coronavirus.
Oh.
I feel like China's got a lockdown on that shit. They're just like,
Well, I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later. Yeah, you're right, though. I could have left it till the end. We got through all the other stuff.
All right.
Okay. Oh, it keeps, it's funny. It keeps coming back and then it cycles out again. Okay, we should probably try to reconnect.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we have a ground loop.
let me try one more thing here.
Okay, we're going to try one more thing here.
How's that?
How's that? Can you say something, John?
Check 1, check 2. John here in China.
Yeah, John's coming in faint. He's there, but he's faint.
That's super quiet.
Check, check.
Yeah, that's really quiet, yeah.
Is that the same? Same?
Yeah, sounds like
Check,
the
check,
same.
1.
Yeah, you're there, but you're coming in quiet. But I think that's us that we're messing around with it. Keep talking, John.
Check 1. John here in China.
That's better. Okay.
Except it's got a whack of ground noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're coming in good now.
so is that better, Darren?
I'm going to try leaving it like that for now. And I hope I can just deal with the hiss later.
Yeah, I'm right on the mic. It's just sometimes here with the China internet, I mean, it can just, go out.
Yeah.
I'm through a VPN right now, and sometimes the VPN is better, and sometimes it's worse. So I have it on right now. So
We already have it set to.
U.S. They think I'm in the U.S.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm still not convinced it's not that cord, so I'm going to keep the compressor unplugged and see what happens.
All right. So we good?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay. So just to wrap up the visualization question.
Yeah.
One more time. Trying to get better at it. I was just making the point that the key is obviously to practice, but part of it is don't put too much emphasis on how long you're able to visualize on something. 1 millisecond of a good thought is better than an hour of negative thinking. It's true. Really at a place where it's real. You're manifesting something very positive in your life, light. That means a lot. Don't feel that you have to be able to do it for an hour straight.
That's a good point.
Any interruption, the negative is a positive.
Sure, absolutely. Assume the virtue, though you have it not.
So what did you mean in your meditation when you were saying be ready for the lapse in consciousness? Is that kind of that drop that happens after a certain amount of time when you just sink right into it?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Now I remember what you're referring to. Yeah. Of course, it's going to happen. Yeah, sure. You're going to drift away. You're not going to be as focused as you were, and you just the base is the focus on the in and the out breath, and then focus on an inward breath. It's drawing you further and further inward. Using whatever technique you're using, focusing on an inner light. You guys there?
Yep.
Yeah, I just tried killing the video to see if that'll help out.
It might. Yeah. I just didn't know if you guys went away, but okay. Did that help or no?
Yeah.
So far, I mean, it was working good for a bit. Then it just started breaking up a little bit there. So I tried killing the video, and we'll keep it at a minimum here and see if we can.
Yeah.
If we can keep on.
I think it's just It's just going to be part of having to transmit from China. It's just like this. It doesn't matter what we use. We could.
Okay.
I mean, I've noticed some little I've noticed little things that even just like fleeting thoughts of like what's interesting is like I'm moving into a house that almost looks identical to the house that I was living in when I was living with Buddy there. And I remember the day I walked into his house, just the way it was set up, and it was a little newer, and I'd been living in these old beat up houses and shit. And I was just like, man, I'm getting back in a house like this. And a newer, not beat down. And lo and behold, I didn't even think about it. But here I am, a year later, less than a year later, falling into a house that almost has the identical floor plan, just from an accidental little. And I was actually talking about that with Natasha over the weekend about how, it doesn't take much. Even if, I don't know, I like to believe in a world with magic, but even without magic, just that intention of wanting or having that, so your subconscious thinking about it. I don't know where exactly it falls in, but
I like that though. That's what he was talking about. That millisecond of positive visualization or visualization instead of negative thinking.
I wonder if there's like, do you think there's like a way that to have it sort of hammer home easier? Like, is there a certain emotional state or a way you've got your guard down or I'm just wondering, because then there'll be other things that I'll sit there and try and just hardcore manifest and they just fucking don't happen.
Yeah, well, I think you have to be as neutral as possible, which is sort of what meditation is, trying to target in on. This or that, to not require things to happen in a certain way. First, to be in that neutral state, that non-reactive state, and then once you're there, when you're not reacting to things, you'd be surprised at how well you naturally gravitate for the right things in life. When we're panicking and radical thinking and whatnot, that's when every time we bring negative things into our life, we start tripping over ourselves. So with that neutral space that you can be in, like you said, even just for a microsecond, if you're really truly there, that gets into your subconscious. Those are the things that are really attracting positive things in your life.
Do you know any hacks for that? I mean, Napoleon Hill had a couple tricks for how to get things from the conscious into the subconscious, but that was his whole thing too, is like, that's when the magic starts happening, is when you can get those, because that's what you're doing when you're sitting there trying to manifest, is it's just all conscious. And you've got to somehow get that down into the subconscious before it starts actually affecting things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can address that on a personal use level. Like for example, I found myself like doing like what you said that you had done, Darren. Like you could get yourself into like a 4-hour meditative state where you don't even want to move.
I didn't say that. That definitely wasn't me.
I thought I heard something like that. Somebody said,
"Can you do that, Graham?"
I guess.
No,
I could get myself up to like a half an hour, 40 minutes after my DMT experiences, but like, I mean, I tried last week again, and I just couldn't. I just got so much going on right now. I just couldn't shut that shit off. I start daydreaming about Dune.
Okay, but so let's go there too, because you might be looking at that as a negative thing. Okay, but I was at the point where I could easily do that. Just sit down and just stay there for hours on end. But then it got to the point where the imagery that would come to me, the intuition, was telling me, get up, get off your ass and go do this. You know what to do now. I didn't need to be there that long to get centered. I could do it much faster. And that's probably what is happening with you. Barron would tell you, trust me, he would tell you, he came to the point in his meditative practice when he realized how much his family was so important in his spiritual progression. And you might be finding that in your own life. I know you have kids, and it's like, that's a big part of your life, So you may only need to be there for a few seconds, and you're centered, you're balanced, you're completely neutral, and it comes to you instantly. This is what I need to be doing right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what we were talking about, Darren, just to give you a little bit more context, is this quantum meditation that he's done, where it's visualizing from your third eye, like a pyramid up here, and then an inverted pyramid. And I was like, we were talking about being present in the moment from yoga and all that, and how this, if you're really focused on this visualization and this meditation, that you're absolutely present. And that's where I think your stuff can happen, manifesting can happen. If you're not in your head and you're in that, so
Totally.
whether you're focused on whatever affirmation you want to do or whatever you're thinking of, even if you're thinking of something, if you're focused on it.
I would have been in that state at that time too, because how you just have that big sigh of relief when you have all this stress, and then you just get in the hang and you close the door behind you, and it's like, I have a place to sleep tonight. Yeah. And your brain just stops from fucking, it's been racing for months and finally it stops. What's interesting that I was gonna, is because I just spent 9 hours in the woods today walking around. Right. And fucking, when I was there walking.
With a gun.
Yeah, with a gun. So what? I didn't end up shooting anything. I ended up shooting an antifreeze can a couple of times. I seen a ton of elk and a ton of deer, but it was in between the leases where I'm not allowed to shoot them.
Leases?
Private property without permission.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Really?
Yeah, I seen 100 elk today. It almost seemed like they did. It almost seemed like they did.
They knew you're coming. So
but anyway, I was thinking about it when I was walking through the bush, because I walked through the bush for 4 hours straight, and you're not talking, you're shutting the fuck up, and you're looking for deer, but you're not thinking about, like, I thought about it after. I was like, when I got back in the truck, I was like, you know what? I didn't think about fucking anything for the last 4 hours except walking around the bush and looking for deer. That's all. Like, where's my next step going to be? Where am I going next? Where was there a deer over there? And I just feel like exhausted and super clear headed.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. It's exactly what we were saying about this yoga practice that we were talking about, the specific one developed by this guy named Baptiste way long ago, like in the 40s.
Yeah, because I don't even care that I didn't get anything.
And we were just, when you're in that class, there's nothing else there. You're just focused on that class.
Yeah, it's so hard to get that these days. It's so hard to get to that place we get a bit of that here on the podcast, but even shit can creep in here. You know what I mean? But for some reason, being out in the bush with a gun, no cell phone service, nothing else fucking mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that might be exactly what you needed to do. And maybe instead of meditation, I got to a point where I honestly, there might have been like a couple of years or something where I didn't even feel like I wanted to sit down and meditate, but I knew everything was happening right because there would be so much synchronicity in my life. Just the right thing would just happen, end after end, one thing would end, the next right thing would begin, this apartment that is our lab that I'm sitting at, that we found this place here. I'm sitting at a drafting table, right? This long drafting table for architects along the wall. The woman who owns it is Chinese. She's an architect. She moved to Germany, and so she's leasing out this room. Somebody told me about this, and it's like, wow, it's perfect. It's got an ocean view. I can see Hong Kong from here. The beautiful, nice, modern layout. As a back room for our lab and everything. And I just see these things happening one after the other, but you'll know when you're not in that place, and that's when you need to sit down and do your meditation and focus and get neutral again. But if you're out there deer hunting or whatever, and you're there, it's incredibly healing. I just told you about my friend Dr. Rhonda Justin. We just got off film before I got on with you, and she told me she was at her property in Malibu, and she was noticing she was watering her plants and things, just like doing little gardening stuff, and she would feel the smile on her face, and she's like, my God, I've had a smile on my face for 2 hours. How healing is that?
Yeah exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
And I like what you said about action, like knowing that maybe you've meditated enough and it's time to do action. I mean, Darren and I do talk about when manifesting or whatever, it's not about just affirmations and then, things are going to happen. You still have to take action.
If anybody
action
ever accuses me,
if
everything turns out and anybody ever accuses me of fucking just manifesting it, I'll be like, fuck you, because you're also busting your ass 24/7. That's got to be part of it, I think. You know, it all works together. Your physical is pointed in that direction. Your spiritual is pointed in that direction. Your mental, you know, you've got those different parts of your body, and they've all got to be pointed in the same direction.
Yeah.
You manifest the opportunity. It's up to you to follow up on it.
Yeah, exactly. And
like,
I guess that's where that meditation.
What were we talking about the other day, where you got to be super careful with that stuff, whether you can be like, you know, like you start saying you need to manifest $1,500, but if you're not super careful, your car will break for exactly $1,500 in damage, and you'll find the money to fix it. But, you know, you won't get that whatever you wanted initially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like those old genie in a bottle fucking metaphors or stories or whatever, but you know, they always had that thing around the wishes. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
That, you know, I think there's something built into that applies to magic and manifestation more than a genie in a bottle.
And maybe the work, the action is the energy of exchange. You know, you're exchanging all that effort and that you've got your intention, you've got your action, and that's part of the exchange, right?
Yeah. That's why you can't just wish for $1 million or you just fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly reactive when you want those things. You're mostly reacting from something else. It's not because it's the right thing in your life.
Yeah. So do you think?
Yeah, I like that bit on reacting. That's that's something that I use in my life quite a bit, is try and stay away from that reacting. Don't react.
I've got quite a few younger millennial friends here that are teachers here in Shenzhen, and I find them asking me more and more questions. You know, they look at me as sort of a mentor, you know, and a few times they've asked me, what is the best advice you can give somebody for life? And I said, don't react.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it covers everything, right? You don't take things personally. Just don't react.
But I think there is a practical application of like this quantum meditation that John's made, or meditation in general, mindfulness, to create that space. Like, I never used to have that space to not react. But even I've noticed it even when something physical happens, like I'll drop a jar out of the cupboard or I'll spill something all over the floor, and I literally have no reaction to it. Whereas, like in my younger days, I would have flipped 100%. Out. I would have fucking banged something, or just
it's funny.
And,
it's funny
and I actually just let it completely happen.
But how's your traffic?
Fine, my traffic's 100%.
Well, that's a huge step.
100%. Like I don't even react.
We left dinner yesterday, and I got cut right off. And Natasha's like, "That's the kind of shit that drives me crazy," and I'm just like smiling. I'm like, I don't. You know what? It used to drive me crazy too, but I just don't care anymore. What is yelling at my windshield going to do?
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah. Well, and it's also even more important that you just are conscious. You're mindful of that. You are reacting even when you feel like you need a vent. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's times, you know, when it's necessary. You know, Walt Baptiste, I remember he told us one time, he said, there's times to be as docile as a bunny rabbit, and then there's times to roar like a lion.
Yeah. I was just telling my sister that on the way here, because she was going through some work challenges, and I'm like, this is okay. You need to show that passion and that anger now. Maybe this is time, you know, doesn't mean that you're not just doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah, be aware that you're doing it. You don't do it on an unconscious,
reaction,
unmindful, emotional
all
level.
The time.
You're doing it because you're consciously doing it.
Yeah.
My business partner has seen me do this to people before. You know, to just, blow up in front of them, and he's thinking that I'm losing it. I said, I consciously did that. I'm letting these guys know you're not going to railroad us.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's, while we have the connection, maybe we can transition over into conscious passion. Yeah, that's good. Maybe we can transition over to why you're locked down here right now.
Maybe that's maybe that's the rule for passion. It has to be conscious.
Guys,
yeah.
Hang on a second. I'm on legal Zoom right now. I'm trademarking that name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
What did you say?
Conscious passion.
You can have that.
I see what you mean, though. Like instead of it being
temper, or instead of it being temper or whatever, it's not passion unless it's conscious.
Yeah.
So you're on lockdown over there. You're locked down where you're at. That's plenty of time to meditate.
Yeah. You know, Absolutely. And to get into that though too, here's another good one, because I know you guys probably get a lot of flack from people about being humorous about things that people are offended about, but that's kind of part of it too. It's like, you notice, like in your spiritual progression, especially, something that we do often is the opposite of what we should do. We shouldn't be dramatic about certain things. We should be actually laughing, trying to make ourselves laugh about them. And other things that we're laughing about, we should be getting serious about them, And yeah, we're doing that here in China right now. We call it boredom busting, doing everything we can to just keep a good sense of humor, keep our immune systems high. Somebody was giving me a hard time about a joke I made on Facebook. I said the only thing that we're in danger of, most of us are in danger of dying from in China right now is boredom. And he's like, "Oh, that's not funny." It's give it 3 weeks alone in the apartment, bud. You'll think it's funny.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can handle that. Are you by yourself then?
No, my temporary roommate, Lean is here. She was actually supposed to already have moved out. She's subletting our place. I sublet it when I go back to the U.S., and I just got back on December 4th.
Right.
So she's here with me, and I'm really lucky. She's really nice, and she's been cooking some wonderful Sichuan food for me and just doing my laundry. I didn't even ask her. And right, Lean? So, yeah, I've got some company, and we have Coco the cat, and we have Zai Zai the turtle.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because it would be super boring. Like, I fucking, my heart breaks for those people that are like by themselves, stuck in some apartment for 3 weeks. Hopefully they had a friend come over and made a little thing of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we should pay a plane to dump some Grimerica fucking cards out over these people. They could be listening to the show while they're stuck inside. At least the ones that speak English.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they have different quarantine levels for different areas. My building is pretty lax. I mean, we can both go and come. But I couldn't visit somebody else's building, and they can't visit my building. And when I go outside, there's somebody checking my temperature on my way in.
They're not going to let us talk about Corona.
That was going good there for a while.
Yeah, I don't think they like the Corona stuff. I'm not even joking.
Oh, it's like I can hear him on his mic banging. We've lost you again, John.
As soon as we start talking about coronavirus. Is that shit still popping off? I mean, I'm so unplugged from that stuff these days. It's almost embarrassing sometimes when people start talking about stuff, and I'm just like weeks behind.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
You're back. Yep. You're back.
Hey, John.
It's weird, eh?
So they check your temperature on the way in and the way out.
Yeah.
They do. So
that seems hardcore. Could you imagine if you had someone outside of your building? You like spit in the cup on your way out?
It's coming.
You think? I gotta get my guns, man. At least you'll be close by now, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
So when the ship pops off, you come over to my house, I'll protect you.
I can go east without getting through Calgary. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully.
I'll protect you with my guns, bud. It's okay. Well, I hope John's okay. I think it's just internet problems. When is it over there? It's
Am I back?
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
back.
John.
Yep.
okay, I'm back.
So yeah, you're getting your temperature taken, and you're in sort of partial quarantine. So I guess work is on a minor slowdown.
Yeah. Everything has been.
You know what the other thing is everyone in China is trying to use the internet right now, probably.
Well, it's about 10 a.m.
Could be.
Because they're stuck at home. There's nothing to do.
True.
We should have done this show in the middle of the night, China time, when they were sleeping. 10 a.m. tomorrow there?
That's a good idea. That was a good idea, actually. We should. So anyways, John, are you we don't know what to believe over here. We see memes all the time about this being a bioweapon that was leaked out of a lab and it's way worse than it is, or it's not way worse than it is, or it's only affecting Chinese people, or it's affecting everybody and it's moving all over the globe. Like, do you have any specific knowledge on what's real and what's not?
I don't have a crystal ball. Different intel on this. I have good news for the Chinese government. I don't really have a theory about whether or not it's a bioweapon or not.
Did you hear that, Skype? He doesn't have a theory, so you can just let us talk about it. We're just talking. Just talking. Not having conspiracy theories. None of that.
And in fairness to the Chinese government, and I have a lot of expats that agree they're doing. There's no messing around. So everybody's got a mask on. Everybody's, doing their part. They, like downstairs, there's a police officer that is here, stationed here, and then the other, the guards, security guards, they've been deputized. He trained them really quickly on what to do. To have to check the temperatures, all the protocol, writing down names, anybody they haven't seen before, and same thing with all the restaurants and bars. Deputized there. One of the workers wearing a red armband.
Oh my God!
Yeah. It's martial law. And the let's say a bar girl, one of them.
Why do I suddenly feel like they're trying this out in China first? I mean, the armband thing makes me fucking nervous right off the bat.
Well, that's just it's like a uniform. It's like a uniform without having to wear a uniform, But so that person, is in charge, But like for example, the Starbucks has been closed in the morning where I usually go to, where I met, Carl, where Carl and I used to hang out when he was.
Oh, you know Carl?
Yeah.
I love Carl.
Yeah.
I love Eric too.
Which Eric?
His brother, Carl's brother, Eric, cousin Eric, yeah.
Okay. I haven't met him. There was a different Eric. He used to be at Starbucks, but anyway, Starbucks is closed right now. In the morning, when I go to get coffee, I have to go to Costa Coffee. They're open, and it's very restricted. When I walk in, it takes my temperature, and she knows me now, so I don't have to, write my name down or anything. But everywhere you go, every street corner, everything. It's that way. There are no exceptions to the rule.
And that's a positive.
The Chinese people are, yes, and the Chinese people are wonderful at doing this type of thing. Okay. You ever watch the Beijing Olympics where they did the opening ceremony and you have these hundreds of dancers and they're doing this intricate choreography all together, swimming around like fish? That's how they are. If there's some natural disaster or something, they do not panic. They're used to being in survival mode. They work together. It's very smooth, very organized.
Is it worse than they say it is, do you think? Or what's your feeling about what we're hearing out in the West?
Okay, so let's consider that when the SARS virus hit, that was in 2003. That was before the smartphone. Okay, so everyone wasn't connected the same way. This time around, you have to factor in that a lot of this is just social media hysteria. It's a lot of false information, fake news going around, and who knows exactly what's real and what's not. I'm talking to some people in Wuhan, and so I'm getting a little bit of feedback. What's going on, and it's definitely worse there. How the outbreak happened, I don't know, man. Did it come from an animal, whatever? But my feeling, though, is when it was from the beginning that it's more of a niche virus. It's targeting certain people. I just read something on the internet yesterday about this theory, and they were saying that the highest fatality rate, the most liable victim would be Chinese men.
Older men, right? Chinese older men?
Yes, but
not even older.
That's likely if you're But if you're not Asian, you're less likely. There's something about the enzyme, I forget what they call it, the ACE enzyme or something, with the affecting your respiratory breathing, and it's worse if you're a smoker. And I said that from the beginning. I said, okay, I want to know who are these people that are dying right away. And sure enough, that was, the exact profile. So
doesn't sound like a bioweapon at all.
No,
targeting race.
I don't think. No, I mean, what are they trying to do? Is China going to send over a bioweapon to kill off the consumers that are buying their products? Come on.
Well, no, I wouldn't think I would have been blaming the States probably.
Yeah, there's an interesting kind of a theory going around that when this is all said and done at the end of 2020, and we look at the data, there's probably going to be less deaths in general that happen during this time period. Because for one, they're not just quarantining for the coronavirus, they're quarantining for any flu virus. And X number of people will die from complications from any flu virus. So they're cleaning everybody out. When the quarantine's over, everyone's going to pretty much be virus free, or a lot lower rate. Also, think of all the accidents that are not happening. Car accidents, scooter accidents. I forget how many people die in a scooter accident every month in China.
That's interesting. It's just really safer now because nobody's going out.
Yeah, nobody's anywhere.
That's always the funny argument about AI, right? Is that we're going to build these super intelligent machines and they're going to lock us in little fucking boxes and feed us. And, they're just going to make it so that we have to live in this bubble where we can't be harmed. We'll be put in a zoo.
Yeah.
Fed some vitamin appropriate mash every day and
and you'll die of boredom.
So what
hopefully
what about the global what about the global economy and the just in time system that we have from China to the West? And I mean, it's affected even some of the industries that we work in, like trying to get bolts and other normal hardware that used to, or the paperwork that we need from it. Like, is it going to affect it where people are like realizing like we shouldn't be relying on stuff to come from all over the world? Like we should just make it in our backyard. I mean, do you think that that'll change some perceptions on globalization in that way?
Yeah. Well, China's obviously got to weigh that into when they're going to, relax, the quarantine. They're already getting people back to work. I know there's 170 workers at our factory in Zhongshan right now already. They probably are all wearing masks and they probably have strict protocol for coming and going. They're getting their temperatures taken, right? Yeah. So it's starting back, but I mean, beyond the facial recognition data that they're losing from everyone wearing masks, everywhere. They're losing part of they're taking the economy, and they have to weigh that into when they're going to, get totally back to work. Maybe they're thinking, hey, some people are just going to have to die. I don't know. Who knows how they're factoring it all together.
I wonder what the acceptable risk is to get the economy going.
Yeah.
Huh.
I live in China, so I'm going to stay neutral.
Yeah, exactly. And you're there developing a product, right?
Shout out to Xi Jinping. We love you, man. Yeah, we're developing a product here, and it was really a bad time for us to have this virus hit. This is 20 years of R&D of our product, 10 years in China.
Wow!
And the factory and the factory's been like just grinding away trying to get these samples ready for the trade show in Vegas. It just happened. In February on the 16th, and they were planning to come back on the 3rd, knock all out the changes, get it off to us right away. They weren't able to come back until just before the trade show, so they had to. And they got it done, but it was like the last minute, It's like a movie. It really was.
Wow. Can you talk about that product at all? Or?
Sure. Yeah. Me and a business partner, I guess after I got out of my extreme sports phase. My business partner and I, we were involved in one of the first indoor rock climbing gyms in the U.S. in Marin County, and we helped to develop a lot of the protocol. And it was great. Like we got a lot of fanfare, notoriety, all that kind of stuff, but we didn't make a lot of money at it. And so we went. He got into this cleaning business. He was cleaning really expensive carpets and rugs with this new type of a technology that was very crude, but it was a high-speed blotting system. Basically, you're just using a cotton pad on the bottom, this high vibration machine, and you're doing what you would do if you were like spill a Coke in your podcast studio on a carpet, and you would just take a towel and blot it up, right? Well, this machine's spot cleaning your entire carpet and rug, and it's very delicate. So he was using it on extremely expensive carpets and rugs, making a lot of money, working through the showrooms and all that. It was a good business, and he invited me to clone the business in LA, and I did, and I did very well. I was making ungodly amounts of money for very part-time work, not very hard work, and met a lot of celebrities and people like that, and it was a lot of fun. But we knew that we wanted to move on and develop this process on a consumer level, that machine, and that's what we did. We just basically took what you're seeing, like the guys use at the airports, those machines that they're pushing forward, but it's pulling to one side, and so we've corrected that. So now it's a forward drive technology. So it's almost like a hybrid robot. You just sort of steer it around, and it's doing the work for you, and it's battery powered, and it's just cutting edge technology for what we do. It's not very glamorous like being a rock star.
It's not like a Roomba. It's not like a Roomba mopper.
Yeah, it's more of a hybrid. You can check it out. Go to ymop.us, ymop.us, and you can see me and Yale, kind of telling our story. But it's like I say, more of a hybrid. It would be like something that it's moving on its own. So you've removed the pushing and pulling aspect of what you're doing, and you're just steering it around. So your handle has become more of a steering system. So it's still a lot less work and very effective cleaning.
So that'd be more like an industrial market for like hotels and stuff like that.
No, actually everything, but we're actually launching consumer first. We were apparently the star of the show at this VDTA show, which is like the most famous for all these guys like Dyson and whatever. It's the most important show, and everybody told us we were the big head of the show.
Good for you! Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we got some great offers for some big players. I don't want to say their names, but
no,
know who they are.
Well, I hope that one day it's your machines in the Safeway instead of those like rug doctors, because those things suck.
Yeah. So, but I told Graham in an email that I'm going to send you one of them as a Patreon payment. We're still at this. Yeah.
Did you tell me that?
I did actually, yes.
Oh, wow. I missed that part.
The rug cleaner?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, if you go to the website, you'll see the YMOP 20. It's released in 2020. That's the one we'll send you.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So, but me and my business partner, we haven't taken salaries this whole time. It is, the quintessential starving entrepreneur story. When I went back home to the U.S. this time, I was sleeping on the warehouse floor, my friend's warehouse in the corner. That's how, broke we were getting this over the finish line, But,
so you're renting out, do you just rent out part of that factory? You're talking about this 170 people, you're just using that factory to build it?
You're talking about the factory in China.
Yeah.
It's in Zhongshan. We had a licensee. So we have a very, very similar story to Dyson, but we had a licensee that didn't perform, and so we ended up removing them. And it was a process of meeting the factory and introducing ourselves and saying, "Hey, we're actually the IP holders and all that." And they were actually so disgruntled about the whole situation. They were just ready to tank it all. And hey, you wasted 2 years on this, blah blah blah. But we convinced them to work with us and do, this upgraded model and everything. And, since have become very good friends with the family, and everything. And we're all in it together now. And yeah, it's just it's a wild story, man. It's like write a book, movie. Nothing comes easy. It's been a really long road.
Well, I hope it all explodes into fruition for you. I mean, that sounds like a great story.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been just a wild experience. I was telling Graham before you came in, Darren, about the rock and roll scene out here in Sheko division of Shenzhen, and I literally got to be a rock star here. Literally. I went home to my eye doctor this last time. I was telling him about how it's been here. I said, man, I have no fantasies left, honestly. The life that I've been able to live.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So hopefully everything gets cleared up and it doesn't keep spreading around China. And
then we'll come visit.
Yeah, and you guys can get...
Yeah, please come visit. There's a
We're
good
going to wait
website.
a few months.
It's if you check out John Hopkins' website it has a map of where all the viruses are breaking out and what the numbers are, how many have been cured and all that. I can send that over to you.
I'll check. We'll find it. I'll check it out. I think I've seen it. Yeah.
China's definitely on the list of stuff places I'd like to go, but I just feel like I should wait a couple months. Let this blow over.
At least. Yeah, no, definitely. And come to Shenzhen. People that live in China from, Beijing or Shanghai or whatever, they'll all tell you Shenzhen is their favorite city. It's the place to be. And if you ever have any immigration problems or whatever, you're just right across the bay from Hong Kong, so it's really easy to solve any problems.
What's the population of Shenzhen?
Over 20 million.
Wow.
And I heard,
Jesus.
and I heard that, and the city's only 40 years old. See, that's the thing about Shenzhen. We're an anomaly here. We're really lucky because they call Shenzhen nobody's hometown. It's only 40 years old. Everybody moved here from somewhere else, and everybody leaves for Chinese New Year. Everybody left right before the outbreak happened, right? And then they wouldn't let them back. So 20 million people. We've only had 2 deaths here in Shenzhen.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
20 million people. That's like half. That's half of Canada.
Yeah, in one city.
More than half of Canada in one city. I mean, that'd be fun though. I can handle that for a couple days. I mean, it'd probably be a bit much after a bit.
So I guess China really has this mix of ancient culture as well as like this Shenzhen where it's modern, like super modern. Like, have you been around to the ancient? Like, I get the feeling that there's old stuff that's way older than people think when they think of China.
I have to say I'm really guilty. I have not actually seen other parts of China. I've stayed within about 2 hours away from here, Hong Kong, Zhongshan, places like that. Just very close by. Carl has seen all of China.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. There's a big contrast. But I'll tell you what though. This was a time when I knew that China changed. This was maybe about 4 years ago. I was on one of my bike rides. I have a really nice hybrid bike that I built here, and I like to go biking around here. And I was coming back on a ride, and there was this woman with a fishing hat on, riding an old pigeon bicycle, right, with a drop tube, right?
Yeah.
And on the drop tube, she had an iPad mount, and she was watching a high definition Chinese movie. And I looked over and just went, man, China, it's just not the same.
Yeah. It must have been really interesting being there in the last 10 years where, like you said, smartphones and social media has exploded. Everything's become more connected. It must be very interesting.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad because when I first got here to Shenzhen, especially Sheko, it was a lot more of the wild, wild west. All the cameras weren't up yet, and they just weren't so strict. The police would just kind of just mostly ignore everything, so just leave you alone. And now, they've cracked down on quite a bit. Just make sure, Darren, when you come here, just make sure like you shave your head and you haven't had anything in you for at least 3 weeks. Because they're very strict here.
Yeah, I ain't coming to China. Fuck China.
So are they pretty strict with people's freedom?
What
too?
about Shanghai? What about Hong Kong? Can I meet you there? Or are they the same shit?
No problem. No, Hong Kong's okay.
Okay, I'll meet you there. We'll meet in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and it was only over the last couple of years too. I remember the skate park where I skate at, it's pretty close to me here, and all the guys were like smoking grass in the pro shop and stuff, just out in the open. And then all of a sudden, just like one weekend, they cracked down. They just arrested all these people at a rave party and everything. And then they got really strict. They started raiding all the bars and doing urine tests.
Doing urine tests.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
And if you fail the urine test, then what? Are you off to the gulag?
What you have to go mandatory 15 days in jail, and then a lot of people get deported.
A mandatory 15 days. Well, I could do 15 days.
You have to lay on like a little piece of concrete on the floor. Like it's like my friend told me he actually had it happen to him, and he said it was terrible. They didn't throw him out though for some reason. I can't remember why. He had some kind of connections and stuff, but I've had some other friends that got caught and then they threw them out or they were in jail for a long time. But it's not like Singapore. They're not going to kill you. You know what I mean? They're really just going to keep you and then like send you out of here.
So what's it like for people's freedom in general there? Is it like communist? Because, you hear all the, over here you hear communist China and it's all just, slavery and all that. But.
Well, other than not being able to own a gun, and not really having, I guess, open free speech. I don't really think there's much. I feel actually more free here in many ways. I can walk downstairs, go buy a beer, pop it open, walk down the sidewalk. No one's going to bother me.
Yeah, that's what's
how
weird. Yeah,
jumped on and arrested in the U.S. for an open container. But just a lot of stuff is just like that here, and we all talk to each other. We just don't do it publicly. There's no protest and things like that. But I'll tell you what, in many ways, it's like you kind of appreciate that there's no protests. There's only one party here. Okay. So there's no other party to blame. When something's not going right, everyone just blames the one party. You there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's just, you're not separated. You're not separated like they are down in the States right now. You're separated between the people and the one party as opposed to the two-party illusion.
Yeah, so the government really wants to keep the people happy for the most part. They want to keep the economy going. They've opened up. We are not living under communism here. We're living under forced capitalism, and they've got a winning formula right now. They're letting the people thrive, and they are thriving.
Wow, that's interesting. What about the protests in Hong Kong?
Well, that's different. Like here, especially like we try not to even comment on social media and stuff. We could get in a lot of trouble really quickly, obviously. So I talked to a few people, on Facebook and stuff, and I say, I sympathize with you, man, but let's face it, you don't have any guns. There's nothing you can do. In the end, you're going to kneel down and you're going to be their bitch. There's nothing you can do in the very end. Your Constitution didn't come with the right to defend yourself against the government, and don't look to the UK, to Britain to help you out with free speech. You can't even have free speech in Britain. If I say something wrong about, on Facebook, they can come and knock on my door and arrest me. They're not going to help you with free speech out in the streets. You're on your own, you know? So we feel for them. I hope it works out. I hope the Chinese government works something out. They have more to gain by it being a prosperous economy than by, by breaking that, making us all move to Singapore with our bank accounts and, corporations.
Yeah.
France seems to do a pretty good job with no guns, though. Or does France have some guns? Can you have a gun in France? I feel like you can't. But they just go out and fucking run into stuff with trucks and beat people with their little things, with their little vests on. I mean, I got a lot of respect for these French people, more than I did before this shit started, I got to say. I mean, not that I didn't respect French people, but I mean,
they usually
those guys are fucking go-getters, man.
They don't put up with shit, really. They're still protesting. So is Hong Kong in lockdown as well now, then?
They are I'm not sure to what degree, but I know if I'm seeing them on Facebook and stuff, and all of my friends are there wearing masks and whatnot, and it's probably incredibly restricted,
right?
Yeah. It's to varying degrees. Like, for example, if I go to the other side of town in Futian, I know that the policy was if there's 4 or more people living in an apartment, only one can leave a day.
Right.
So it depends on where you're at now. And the closer you get to Hubei province or Wuhan, the stricter it's going to be. Our factory manager made the mistake of going and visiting his girlfriend in Wuhan right before this happened. So he's stuck there, and he just told me he's going to be there for like almost another 3 weeks, and then he'll have this strict protocol coming back. But and like, for example, our landlord is from Wuhan. By the way, let's say this publicly: I have the coolest landlord in China. He's the most wonderful guy. He's had us over for lunch, a few times, and he knows the project we've been working on. He knows we've been struggling, and he's been working with us on the rent and everything.
Wow.
And he's from Wuhan, so he can't come to my building because he didn't go home. He didn't go back, but they'll check him out, and they'll get very suspicious, and he could get into, some kind of a, review of his past, or whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah, interesting. It's a real paradox of freedom there. In some ways it's freer, and in some ways you're more restricted. It's so interesting.
So it looks like you can't have guns in France. You can have guns, just not automatics. You can even have AR-15s, for fuck's sakes. You can have a semi-automatic rifle as long as it's longer than 60 centimeters. So that's an AR-15.
I think What's Canada like? I don't really know.
Oh, yeah. I could go get an AR-15. Yeah, but I can only have 7-shot clip. That's the rule in Canada. Only 7 shots. I could have like 10 7-shot clips, so I just got to get fast at changing them. So I figure what you want to do is you have a bunch of guns with clips in them, and you have someone switching them out for you if you have to fight the government. But I don't think we'll have to do that here. We're not going to be fighting any governments in Canada. We're pretty docile.
Yeah.
But I mean, you go to Cabela's here, and there's just stacks of guns. Like I was at Cabela's last night looking at guns, and there's some. I mean, I hadn't gone into Canada and looked at guns in a long time, and I was just kind of down in Texas seeing all the stuff they had. So I was kind of like, I walked into Cabela's and I was like, whoa, it's like all the same shit I just seen in Texas you can get here. It's just got a smaller clip and no handguns.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can get a handgun if it's old and an antique.
Yeah. I don't think handguns are what they're trying to suppress. I have a theory about that. They target guns that can lock down a perimeter. Like at Bundy Ranch. They don't want you to be able to take them on at a distance, because they used to really be hard on handguns, like in the U.S. It's like very strict policies. They were cracking down more, and they suddenly sort of abandoned that. I tell you, man, I know. Word on the street out here in China is you're not going to have to worry about guns soon. They have electronic devices that can do some serious damage. Something the size of a phone that has a capacitor. You don't even have to have a battery. It can be already charged up. Little laser shots. They have lasers that you can shine up to a plane passing overhead, right? With a little tiny battery, right? I don't need that. I just need one pulse that will shoot through you at short range. Do that with a capacitor.
Jesus.
So, the technology's coming, and that's how come they're not really worried about that. They're worried about long range.
That's interesting. I didn't realize there was such a difference between an AR-15 and a handgun for range.
Well, an AR-15 is not going to give you a whole ton of range. It's still only a .223, but if you get into like a 30-30, you could take something down at 1,500 yards. If you could pin it down 1,000 for sure. I mean, but if you get into like a 300 or a 50 cal, you can get those in Canada and just take something down at fucking 2-3 kilometers.
Yeah.
But that's going to be one shot, and it's going to make a giant mess.
Yeah. So, Graham, are you also a gun owner?
No.
Yeah, I'm not either. But,
No, I'm not into the guns really. I wouldn't mind a bow and arrow one day, but
I was checking out the crossbows yesterday. There's some sick crossbows.
Yeah, I used to have like a 50-pound, just a normal bow from my uncle that he gave me. I tore up my fence when I was young.
We actually just, speaking of crossbows, we actually just sent a complimentary mop to Shemaine Nugent, Ted's wife.
Oh yeah, cool.
For the record, I'm not really a gun guy. I just like hunting. That's what I'm getting into, hunting. Yeah. I'm not really into I don't really just like shooting.
You're not into militias and stuff like that?
Well, no, I want my guns just in case. But like I said, I was explaining to Natasha that I'm not the gun guy that needs a loaded gun in the bedroom. I'm the gun guy. My gun can be at my buddy's place across town, but I just need it. I figure the situations I think I'm going to need a gun, I'll have a couple weeks. It's like, okay, the power's out. Okay, fuck, I better go get the guns because in a week shit might start popping off. Or zombie apocalypse, I'll probably have some time to go get the guns. Or the government started fucking shooting people in Ottawa. So, okay, well, they're going to get to Alberta soon. Better go get the guns. In Canada, I worry a lot less about my door getting kicked in and me needing to defend myself. That's not really something that crosses my mind. It's more... Honestly, it's like this whole thing that our whole society is built on a giant house of cards, it really seems like. And it's like... Seems like those cards could start falling out someday, and if that happens, I might want some guns around. Because the people who aren't prepared are just going to come and try, and eventually they're going to get hungry enough to just start trying to take the shit from the people that are prepared.
Yeah.
So
Can't even blame them.
Are you worried about a zombie apocalypse, Darren?
Can't rule it out. They've been flashing us with zombie apocalypse movies for a long time, and I can't help but feel like there's a reason for that.
Is that they're prepping us, huh?
They're prepping us so that we're not super shocked when the zombie apocalypse starts. When we see some zombies, we're kind of ready.
Aim for the head.
I mean, I could walk around downtown Calgary and I see a bunch of zombies walking into stuff while they stare at the smartphones, but somehow I don't think that's it.
Well, I think we're becoming a more lawless society in a lot of ways. I mean, they're not dealing with crime at all in a lower level here.
That I agree with that,
and that's what scares me is that the big crimes and the small crimes don't get. But I still got to pay for my fucking speeding tickets when I'm.
And I couple that with the fact that I don't think guns are going to be on the table forever.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot harder to take them from me than it will be to stop somebody from buying them. Yeah. So it's better just to have a couple now while you can get them. Not because you're crazy, just because, you probably have an axe in your shed and you probably have a saw and you probably have a couple other tools that'll come in handy if you need them. And a gun's just another tool that might come in handy if you need it.
Sure. I think about this sometimes. Okay, in China, you can't have a gun, right? What if you lived in an area of whatever where there's like tigers or something or animals that can attack and kill you? You can't even defend yourself against wild animals.
Totally. And there's like parts of it's funny because that came up today because we were walking around the bush and I'm like, I'm sure glad that there's like nothing, you got to worry about grizzlies a little bit, but not right now. I mean, that's the one thing you might have to worry about in North America is a grizzly.
That you couldn't kill with a gun, is that what you're saying? Or?
Yeah, like like wolves, you could probably scare them off. If a cougar or something comes, you could probably shoot it. But if a grizzly's charging at you and you gotta you gotta cock that gun every time, you got one shot, maybe two. So the grizzly you gotta watch, but a tiger, holy fuck, man, you're not even gonna get a chance to shoot. It's just gonna be like, bam.
Yeah.
Like they come at you so fast. Like, I didn't even think about that. Can you imagine you got to walk around and work in your rice field and you can't even have something to protect you from the tiger?
Quantum meditation will not save you.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, keep your head up, John.
I mean, you might sense it coming. Your intuition might kick in. There might be some space enough there to realize that You know?
Well, hopefully you can get yourself one of those laser guns soon.
You can feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up. And maybe if you weren't doing the meditation, you wouldn't feel that.
So you meditate and you know the tiger's there.
Yeah.
So you just realize you're about to get mauled, or you run away.
You get away quick enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right on.
Suddenly, the answer comes to you. I should
That's
have
it.
had a gun.
Yeah.
I should have had a gun.
Right before you got eaten.
Well, John, we thanks for putting up with all our stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think anything else to get to before we start wrapping it up?
It's up to you guys. I should probably just let people know how they can access the videos. You know, when I first made those videos, I had planned to monetize them. And now it would be more investment into advertising and marketing and all that, getting it out there, you know, for me to recoup my investment. So I'm just putting it out there for people to access it. You know, it's my gift to the world. I put up a Facebook page yesterday and I got 2 nice clean uploads. The uploads that are on YouTube are not good. I think I'm going to take the ones off of YouTube. They're just, for some reason, sometimes I have problems with YouTube getting a better quality. So I sent you the link for the Facebook page, so feel free to post that if you want.
Okay.
And it's centered meditation video or centered meditation series, but really the name of the page is Centered Meditation Video, and the videos are there, and it's a community page. It's not a brand. Anybody wants to go there and post other videos, or if they want to post comments, you know, positive affirmations, whatever, you know. Go at it. If anybody wants to take the video and pass it around, they can. If somebody wants to get a better quality directly from me and do something with it, they can. Even if they want to monetize it, that's fine. You know, I'm off onto something else.
No, that's cool though. Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. It was a good meditation. It's really interesting for people, especially for people that want to learn how to meditate and to get centered and focused.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't even seen it yet. I'll have to check it out. Is Carl there now?
No, I don't think so.
Is he in the States?
Carl's in DC. Yeah, he went back with his Chinese wife last year.
Good timing.
He escaped.
He escaped.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, John. Well, thanks, man. We'll put that in the show notes and stuff, and we'll.
Godspeed, sir. I'll be thinking about you and hoping that you stay good and your temperature stays down.
Thanks for the positive visualization.
Don't get caught smoking weed. Man.
Yeah, my premonition about your show is you're going to be bigger than Joe Rogan.
Thanks, buddy.
If you're not already.
Thanks.
We're not quite there yet. Thanks. So you're like the 3rd person that said that. I don't know if I want to be bigger than Joe Rogan. It seems like fucking headache.
Yeah, we don't want to be that.
I want to be just like a little smaller than Joe Rogan, just the right size that I can eke out a living and not get recognized in public.
Yeah, exactly. Just enough to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
So, hey, Lean, come and say goodbye.
Hi.
Say goodbye.
Hey.
Good vibes.
Bye. Good vibes.
She knows your theme song. Grimerica. Good vibes.
Good
All right,
vibes.
guys. Well,
Awesome. See you, John. Thanks a lot, buddy.
all right.
Okay, keep
Peace,
in touch.
love, joy, and bliss.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Keep that temperature down. Bye for now.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
That was our chat with John Neira from China, from Zhengzhou, is it?
That
$20
computer.
million,
20 million people.
In the city. They've got like 100 cities with over 1 million people in it. Like, to think about that. Like, Calgary is like in that category. Probably technically might even be lower, but like Calgary.
Calgary's over 1 million?
Yeah. So there's 100 cities at least the size of Calgary.
How many do we have? 4? 5. Montreal.
Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary.
Calgary.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Burnaby's probably up there, and
Ottawa?
Maybe not Burnaby. Ottawa.
Ottawa's going to be close to
you know, there's like some like Richmond. Even I don't know what the population of some of those lower mainland cities are. Pretty big, but
here you have it. Canadian cities by population: Toronto 5.4 million, Montreal 3.5 million, Vancouver 2.2 million. Calgary, 1.2 million.
That's it?
Then I had to click on the link. Edmonton, 1.062 million.
Oh, wow. They're quite big too, yeah.
And then Ottawa, 989,000. So there'll be 1 million next year.
Yeah.
So we'll be up to 6 cities of 1 million people, I would say, within the next year or two.
Yeah.
And then, like, Winnipeg's been hovering around 700,000 for as long as I can remember. So it's not going to get there anytime soon.
Winnipeg's just not growing.
No.
Some cities just don't. They're going the opposite way. People are moving out of those cold ass cities. Anyways, it was good to talk
London's
to
still 383,000. That's a nice little town.
Get a little inside scoop about the virus and what's going on there, which makes me feel a little bit better about, still not
Totally.
believing
Maybe I should have just went
everything we
home.
hear. And,
It seems like I showed up here and the audio went to shit.
yeah, but that's okay. Thanks for coming, buddy.
All
I wanted
right.
to save all that stuff.
Big thanks to John for coming on the show. Big thanks to you guys for tuning in and listening. Big thanks to you guys who support the show. Grimerica.ca/support. We love yous for it. You the best. Yeah, this one was a little bit of extra editing because I probably took the time to edit out all that crap that happened. Maybe I didn't, but I think I did. Grimerica.ca/support. Check out all the stuff in the show notes. Spam, Gram. Review the show. Sign your friends up for this motherfucker. Review the show wherever you can, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, I don't care. Review the show wherever you can. Does help. Share the show. Sign people up for the newsletter. Love each other. Spread good vibes. Oh, join the chats. Grimerica.ca/chats. I think we had like 30 people join the chats in the last week.
Yeah, lots
so
of people.
Seems like
Yeah,
a good
that's
time.
Yep,
The chats are popping. Grimerica.ca/chats. Other than that, thanks for listening. We love you.
And living in, too.
And living in, too. That's important. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
I feel safe. I feel safe when I'm with you. It must be your grace. How you skate in figure eights beneath this spinning disco ball. How you skate, how you skate, how you skate. In figure eights, in figure eights, in figure eights. Beneath the spinning, beneath the spinning, beneath the spinning disco ball. How you catch, how you catch, how you catch me when I fall, when I fall, when I fall. And after all, and after all, and after all, you're my wonder wall, my wonder wall, my wonder wall. And I will hold open doors for you and do chores for you and swim from shore to shore for you. 'Cause mi amor, I sure do adore. I feel great, I feel great, I feel great. In this place, in this place, in this place. Beneath the willow, beneath the willow, beneath the willow tree with you. What a catch, what a catch, what a catch. You're so smart, so very smart, so very smart. And that's not all, and that's not all, and that's not all. You also got a big heart, a big old heart, a big old heart. And I will hold open doors for you and do chores for you and swim from shore to shore for you. 'Cause mi amor, I sure do adore. How you skate, how you skate, how you skate. In figure eights, in figure eights, in figure eights. Beneath the spinning, beneath the spinning, beneath the spinning disco ball. The higher you catch, the higher you catch, the higher you catch. When I fall, when I fall, when I fall. And after all, and after all, and after all, you're my wonder wall, my wonder wall, my wonder wall. And I will hold open doors for you and do chores for you and swim from shore to shore for you. 'Cause mi amor, I sure do adore you. I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe. In this place, in this place, in this place. Beneath the willow, beneath the willow, beneath the willow tree with you. What a catch, what a catch, what a catch. You're so smart, so very smart, so very smart. And that's not all, and that's not all, and that's not all. You also got a big heart, a big old heart, a big old heart. And I will hold open doors for you and do chores for you and swim from shore to shore for you. 'Cause mi amor, I sure do adore you. I feel safe. I feel safe when I'm with you. It must be your grace. How you skate in figure eights beneath the spinning disco ball.